You ever stumble into something you weren't supposed to see? Not like walking into the wrong bathroom kind of thing. I mean the kind of stumble where the air leaves your chest and your brain starts playing its own CSI soundtrack on loop. That was me. Tuesday, 9:43 p.m. It started with something stupid. Our iPad wasn't syncing right. We have this shared one we mostly use for streaming and looking up recipes we never make. It started throwing sync errors on my profile, so I did what any half-tech-savvy husband would do: reset the cloud login. I'm not even supposed to have the admin password. That's her thing. She's in marketing for some eco-skincare startup that changes branding like underwear. Always on brand. Always on message. She handles the tech at home because I don't care enough to argue with her about which Wi-Fi band the air fryer should be on. But she made the mistake of using my birthday as her cloud password. February 14th. I know, ironic. Valentine's Day. The day love is supposed to mean something. When the login screen popped up, I typed in 0214, half out of spite, half out of curiosity. And it worked. Unlocked. No 2FA. No warning signs. Just a clean welcome screen and a folder labeled media_archive_temp. Now let's pause here for a second. When you see a folder like that, with underscores and the word temp, it's never temporary. That's like labeling a shovel-like gardening tool while you're digging 6 feet down in the backyard. I tapped it. Inside, 37 video files. All time-stamped. All with names like clip_final1, zoom_recap2, and my personal favorite, delete_later, MOV. My heart started pounding. I felt it in my fingertips. And right then, I knew something was off. Because my wife, Madison, is meticulous. She doesn't forget things. Doesn't leave digital crumbs lying around unless she's tired, or sloppy, or hiding something fast. So I hit play. The first clip started with a black screen. Just audio. Then a face. Not mine. Some guy? Mid-30s. Patchy beard. Vaguely familiar. I squinted. Then Madison's voice. Soft. Flirty. The voice she used back when we first started dating. Back when she actually looked at me during dinner instead of scrolling Slack like someone was feeding her dopamine through emojis. She giggled. And then he said it. You're always so good at keeping secrets. Bingo. The guy? His name's Connor. I recognized him from one of her old Zoom team intros, the quiet one from analytics. She said he was awkward, socially clumsy, barely spoke above a whisper. That was months ago, back when she still let me hover in the kitchen during meetings. But on this video, oh, he was plenty loud. I watched 2 more clips. Same pattern. Him grinning. Her laughing. Dim light. Late hours. Recaps turning into compliments. Compliments turning into, well, let's just say she wasn't coaching him through a quarterly report. By the 4th video, I'd stopped feeling the shock. It turned cold. Focused. My breath slowed. My thumb hovered over the screen like I was navigating a bomb menu. I should have felt betrayed. Instead, I felt wired. She used my birthday, my password, to hide an affair in plain sight. And not just any affair, with the same guy she called a human version of an Excel error. The irony wasn't lost on me. I backed out of the folder, checked her backup settings. Turns out she synced her entire cloud to the iPad. All of it. That's when I decided I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. I wanted everything. So I mirrored her phone. If you've never used developer mode on Android, don't worry, most people haven't. But if you've ever worked at a place where your boss is paranoid about device safety, you learn a few things. One of those things is that if you know what you're doing, you can mirror a phone screen remotely and watch, in real time, as someone texts, scrolls, types. All I needed was 10 minutes alone with her phone. So I waited. Madison worked from home on Wednesdays, but always took a walk at 11 a.m. to clear her head. I offered to get coffee that day. Said I needed air. She smiled, tossed me her phone to grab her mobile order from the app, and went upstairs to grab her earbuds. Boom. Phone in hand, connected to my dev box. USB tether. Quick sideload. Done in 5. She didn't even notice. That night, I stayed up watching her screen from my office. Texting Connor. Joking about a client call she had to fake. Sending memes. Links. A screenshot of a hotel booking labeled off-site brainstorm. I took screenshots of everything. Saved the chat logs. Built a folder called Madison_exit_strategy. By Thursday, I had enough to write a Netflix pitch. But I wasn't done. Because this wasn't about catching her. This was about presenting it. Like a pitch deck. like the campaigns she bragged about closing. So I planned an event. See, Madison had been teasing something to her team, a possible promotion. Big title change. VP of messaging or some BS. She was nervous, excited, told me it might be time for a celebration. I said, let's throw something small. Just family. A surprise. She lit up. I made the calls. Her parents. Her sister. Her boss's wife, who I remembered meeting once at a company retreat. Charming lady. Very social. Very curious. I told them it was a surprise party. Promotion reveal. Just show up Saturday night. Madison, of course, had a work trip that Friday. Overnight. With Connor. She left with a kiss on the cheek and a suitcase full of lies. By the time she got back, the projector was set up, and every seat in the living room was taken. Let me tell you something about revenge. It's not about the yelling. It's not about the confrontation or the big emotional explosion that leaves everyone crying in the driveway. Nah, real revenge is quiet. Surgical. It's what happens when you know something they don't, and you let them walk into it like it's their idea. Saturday came fast. Madison got home around 4:45 p.m., rolling her suitcase in like she hadn't just spent the last 26 hours tangled up with a man who spells his name with 2 N's. She was dressed down, black leggings, that gray hoodie she always wears after a draining strategy session. Her face had that content, post-conference glow, like someone who just nailed a keynote and got offered stock options. She didn't see the extra cars parked down the block. I was careful about that. Our neighbors on both sides are nosy, and I told everyone to park 2 houses away and walk over. Madison's parents arrived first. Then her sister, the one who used to joke that I was too boring for Madison. Then came the rest. A few coworkers, some friends she hadn't seen since pre-COVID, and most importantly, Angela, Connor's wife. Now, I didn't invite Angela just for drama. I invited her because I'd done some digging. Turns out, she and Madison had worked on a project together last year, a cross-department campaign that required close collaboration. Angela had posted about it on Instagram back then. Big group photo, lots of tags. I zoomed in. Madison was standing next to Connor, their shoulders barely touching. But now that I knew what to look for, the body language was all wrong. Angela had no clue, but she was going to find out. I heard the key turn in the front door. Showtime. I stepped into the hallway just as Madison walked in, wheeling her suitcase like she was auditioning for a travel commercial. Hey, she said, smiling. What's all this? She looked toward the kitchen. Balloons. A banner that read big news, with a little party hat emoji printed across it. I'd ordered it custom, just vague enough to fit any occasion, but with a tone that made your stomach twitch. You'll see, I said, grinning. Go freshen up. I've got a surprise for you. She blinked, lips parting like she wanted to ask more, but instead she nodded. Okay, what kind of surprise? The good kind, I said, and kissed her on the cheek. She went upstairs. I texted the group chat. Get ready. 10 minutes later, she came down in a new outfit. Jeans, sweater, brushed hair, lipstick, the whole show. Madison's always been the kind of woman who likes to control the moment. She probably thought this was her moment. We led her into the living room. Everyone shouted, surprise. She gasped, laughed, did the whole, oh my God, what is this? Routine. Her mom hugged her. Her sister made a joke about popping champagne. Angela was off to the side, sipping white wine and scanning the room like a detective waiting for the crime to start. Madison turned to me, beaming. Did you plan all this? I nodded. Every detail. She gave me a kiss. You're the best. Oh, honey, you have no idea. I motioned to the TV. We put together a little something. A highlight reel. Your coworkers sent me clips from the retreat. Thought it'd be nice to show everyone how hard you've been working. Her smile twitched. Barely. Okay, she said slowly. Everyone settled in. I grabbed the remote and dimmed the lights. The screen lit up. For the first 10 seconds, it was exactly what she expected. A montage of her giving a presentation. A few shots from her office. Some upbeat music. Laughter. Then came the audio. Her voice. Only this time, it wasn't about Q3 metrics. It was her voice saying, "Don't worry, Connor. He's too dense to ever figure it out." Silence. I heard someone's drink clink against their glass. A chair creaked. Madison stood frozen, hands halfway to her mouth. Then the video cut to the first Zoom clip. She and Connor. Laughing. Flirting. Him calling her his brilliant little secret. Another clip. her whispering something about late-night sinks. Her face flushed. His face leaned in toward the camera. Angela dropped her wine glass. Madison finally moved, lunged for the remote, but I held it up out of reach. "Sit," I said. "Alan, what are you doing?" she hissed. "Showing everyone how good you are at messaging," I said, my voice low and calm. Her father stood up, face pale. "Madison, is this real?" Madison was shaking now. "Dad, please, it's not what it looks like." "It looks like you've been cheating with a guy from work," her sister said coldly. Angela had her phone out now, tapping. Then she looked up, dead calm. "His phone's off," she said. "He said he was with his brother." The final clip played. Madison laughing in bed, face half-lit, whispering, "He still thinks I'm in Denver." Then the screen went black. I turned the lights back on. Nobody clapped. Nobody moved. Madison just stood there, eyes wide, mascara already streaking. I can explain." "You really can't," I said. "And honestly, I'm not interested." I walked past her, picked up her suitcase, rolled it toward the door. "Alan, where am I supposed to go?" I opened the front door. "Back to Connor, I guess." She didn't move. Nobody said anything. Her mom just covered her mouth with both hands. Her sister stared straight ahead, like she was watching a car crash in slow motion. Angela finally stood. Quiet. Precise. She walked up to Madison. Slapped her. Not hard. Not brutal. Just enough. Then she walked out. I set the suitcase on the porch. Madison finally stepped forward. "Tears now. Please, Alan. This wasn't supposed to happen like this." "You mean the party?" I said. "Or the affair?" She didn't answer. I shut the door. Behind me, everyone sat stunned. I turned around and said, "Anyone want cake?" There's a certain kind of silence that settles in after you detonate someone's entire reality in front of their family. It's not awkward. It's not uncomfortable. It's surgical. Clean. Like when the last firework pops and all that's left is smoke curling in the air while everyone looks around, pretending they didn't flinch. That was my living room. Everyone still seated. Some with drinks in hand. Others staring at their knees like they were waiting for a pastor to explain the next steps. Madison's mother was whispering something. A prayer, maybe. Her dad just stood there, holding the arms of his chair like it was the only thing keeping him upright. Her sister? Oh, she was loving it. Not even trying to hide the little smirk playing at the edge of her lips. And me? I was already slicing the cake. It was red velvet, if you're curious. Her favorite. I'd ordered it 3 days ago from the same bakery we used for our wedding. A nice touch. Nostalgic. Full circle. I handed a piece to her father. He looked at me like I'd just handed him a confession letter. "She really did this?" he asked, voice low. "Every clip is time-stamped, geotagged, backed up 3 ways," I said. "What you saw was just the highlight reel." He nodded once, slowly, like he was processing a data breach in his own soul. Madison was still outside. She hadn't picked up her suitcase. She just stood on the porch, phone in hand, trying to call someone. Connor, I assumed. But from the way she kept pulling the phone away and looking at it like it had betrayed her, I guessed he wasn't answering. Can't say I blamed him. Angela didn't come back. She texted me later, though. Just 3 words. "Thank you. He's done." I didn't reply. Back inside, I started handing out plastic forks. The tension slowly broke. People started talking again. Not to me, not yet, but to each other. Whispers. Glances. One woman, someone from her marketing team, said, "She always acted so innocent." Another guy muttered, "Guess that explains why she never responded to Connor's work stress messages in group chat." They were direct messaging each other. I turned to the TV, still frozen on the final frame of Madison's flushed face, whispering to Connor that she was in Denver. I clicked it off. Her father stood up, walked toward the door, and paused. "You want me to talk to her?" I raised an eyebrow. "You want to?" He thought for a second. "No." And then he left. One by one, everyone followed. Some hugged me. Some patted my shoulder. Some just nodded, like they'd witnessed something historic and were afraid to ruin it with words. Eventually, it was just me. And Madison. She finally walked back in around 8 p.m., dragging her suitcase like it was made of bricks. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. I poured myself a drink. Neat. Scotch. The good kind she always said smelled like wet furniture. I took a sip. "Start with why," I said, staring at her over the rim of the glass. She blinked. "Why what? Why you thought you could use my birthday to lock up your affair?" Her mouth moved, but nothing came out. I stepped closer. You could have picked anything. Anything at all. But you chose the day I gave you flowers for the first time. The day I proposed. The day we promised not to become strangers. That was the code you used to store video chats with a guy you said had the charisma of a loading screen. I didn't mean to. You did, I said. You meant every move. Every file. Every working late. You're not sloppy. You're just arrogant. Her eyes welled up. You don't understand. I didn't want to fall for him. It just happened. No, Madison. You don't fall into hotel rooms. You don't accidentally sync deleted Zoom calls to a shared iPad. That's not gravity. That's intention. She sat down on the couch. The same couch we'd bought together from that overpriced boutique she loved. The one she swore would last us forever. It creaked under the weight of her silence. I didn't think it would get this far, she said, finally. Connor. He was just someone to talk to. I raised the remote and clicked it back on. The screen lit up. A paused video. Her, biting her lip, whispering. He thinks I'm at a hotel networking dinner. I told him I was exhausted. I can't believe how easy this is. She flinched, covered her face. I saved everything, I said. Do you know how many times you said that phrase? I can't believe how easy this is. 7. Across 4 videos. You looked proud. She sobbed once. Just once. No drama. No heaving. Just a sharp inhale, and then nothing. Like her lungs gave up before her guilt did. I set the glass down. Here's what happens next, I said. She looked up. You're going to leave. Alan, you're going to take your things, and you're going to go. Tonight. The guest room's been cleared out. There's a hotel reservation in your name, paid for. You'll get a formal separation notice by the end of the week. Her lip quivered. You already? 3 weeks ago, I said. The moment you called him babe, while still wearing the necklace I gave you for our anniversary. She covered her mouth again. I didn't flinch. I won't drag you publicly. I won't leak more than what I already showed. But if you fight the split, if you try to play victim, I will unleash everything. You said you weren't interested in revenge, she said, voice shaking. I'm not, I replied. I'm interested in closure. And I have a very efficient filing system. She stood slowly. I guess I never really knew you, she said. No, I said. You just thought I was easy. She left around midnight. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't need to. I stayed up, watching the old videos one more time. Not because I missed her. Not because I wanted to relive it. But because I needed to remember what it looked like, the moment a person you love becomes someone you document. And then I deleted them all. Not out of mercy, but because I didn't need the evidence anymore. I had the memory, and she had the suitcase. There's this odd thing that happens after you burn everything down. You expect peace. Like some kind of cinematic stillness, rain pattering on the window while you sit in a leather chair, sipping something expensive and dramatic. But the truth is, the aftermath isn't peaceful. It's paperwork, logistics, vacuuming the confetti out of your rug because you threw a fake promotion party for your cheating wife. Sunday morning hit like a brick. Not because I felt bad, I didn't, but because real life doesn't pause for revenge. The laundry still needed doing. The coffee machine still blinked, clean me. My inbox still had 15 emails from vendors I didn't remember subscribing to. And Madison was gone. Physically, yes. Her suitcase had finally left the porch at midnight. But digitally, she was still everywhere. Her name on shared accounts. Her playlists in the car stereo. Her dumb, Monday motivation calendar reminders popping up on my iPad. That part of divorce nobody warns you about, the digital exorcism. I spent most of that morning wiping everything. Changed the Wi-Fi. Logged her out of every device. Reset shared passwords. Deleted every photo of us on my phone, except one. It was from our first vacation, Chicago. We were on a river cruise. She had just spilled coffee on her scarf and was laughing like the whole thing was a sitcom. I kept it not because I missed her, but because it was the last time I could say, with confidence, that she hadn't lied to me yet. The photo was a timestamp. That afternoon, my lawyer called. You want public or private? He asked. Private, I said. Unless she pushes. He chuckled. I doubt she will. We sent the initial separation terms to her temp address this morning. Her email bounced back. She already deactivated it. Of course she did. She's playing it quiet. Smart move. Yeah, smart. Until it wasn't. Because Monday morning, the silence cracked. I woke up to 3 missed calls from an unknown number, 2 texts from an unsaved contact, and a screenshot from a friend at work. It was a Reddit post. Title: Caught my wife cheating, played the footage at her promotion party, family was there. I clicked it, stomach suddenly cold. It wasn't me, but it was my story, word for word, rewritten slightly, changed names, but the core was unmistakable. Video clips, surprise party, slap from the other woman. It was my revenge, posted by someone calling themselves Hush Justice 88. The comments were blowing up, thousands of upvotes, people demanding updates, some calling it fake, others saying it was the most brilliant exposure ever. I wasn't mad. I was curious, so I messaged the account. Nice story. Shame it's not yours. An hour later, I got a reply. Didn't think you'd find it. Not trying to steal. Just needed something powerful to go viral. Yours was too good. I stared at the screen. This guy, this internet opportunist, had scraped my real life for karma points. And here's the sick twist. I admired the move. Because that's what Madison had done in her own way. Taken something private, sacred, and flipped it into a lie she could control. Only now, the narrative was out of her hands. So I posted my own version. On a private YouTube channel, I uploaded a calm, collected narration of what really happened. No anger, no dramatic music, just a single camera. Me, talking, explaining how I found out. The tech, the planning, the night of the reveal. I didn't use her name, or his, but the timeline, crystal clear. The title, I found out my wife was cheating when she used my birthday as her password. It hit 10K views in the first 12 hours. People weren't just watching. They were hooked. The comments flooded in. This is surgical. Bro really made a PowerPoint out of pain. How do I learn to stay this calm? By the end of the week, it had crossed 100,000. I got DMs, emails. Someone even offered to animate it into a short film. And that's when it hit me. Revenge isn't about getting back at someone. It's about reclaiming the narrative. Madison had owned the story of our marriage for years. She curated it, publicly and privately. She told her friends I was distant, told her coworkers I was supportive but dull, framed herself as the hustler, the dreamer, the one who brought life into our routines. But now she was the punchline. And the best part? I didn't even have to be cruel to do it. I just told the truth. A week later, I got an email from Angela. Subject line, thanks for the fireworks. She'd moved out, changed her number, got herself a lawyer, told her boss the whole story, and guess what? Connor was under investigation. Turns out, their company had a very strict code of conduct regarding internal relationships, especially ones that involved lying about expenses, faking travel, and holding meetings in hotel rooms not booked by corporate. Angela didn't just expose him. She burned him. His name? Gone from the company's site. His LinkedIn? Silent. And Madison? Still quiet. Still invisible. But I knew she was watching. I'd see her IP occasionally hit the video page. VPN routed through Chicago, but the signature was hers. Same one that used to ping from our house. Same pattern. She was watching herself unravel in 1080p. And I wasn't done yet. I began outlining a new series. Not just my story, but others. Stories of digital betrayal. How modern affairs leave digital trails. How you can spot deception by tech habits, behavioral shifts, cloud storage activity. The working title? Cheat Codes. My voice. My stories. Real tech. Real signs. Because I realized something through all this. I wasn't the only one. There were thousands of us. Married to people who hid behind Slack emojis and fake business trips. Who used terms like emotional bandwidth to justify late-night Zoom calls. Who used my birthday as a password to lock away evidence of betrayal. And I had a platform now. So no, I didn't destroy Madison. I exposed her. And in the quiet that followed, I didn't rebuild the old life. I started a better one. 3 months later, I stood in a modest podcast studio, sitting across from a host with thick glasses and a just-divorced mug. She asked, "Did you ever think it'd blow up like this?" I didn't hesitate. No, I thought I'd just get closure. Instead, I got an audience. The Cheat Code series didn't just take off, it ignited. What started as a single video turned into a 10-part blueprint for digital infidelity detection. I broke down patterns, metadata trails, mirroring methods, even emotional language drift in texts. People didn't just watch, they shared. DMs flooded in. Men, women, people stuck in suspicion, finally seeing a map. I became the guy who taught you how to see what you weren't supposed to. A quiet YouTube detective for the emotionally defrauded. And Madison? She reached out once. Email. No subject line. Just one sentence. You made your point. I didn't reply. She didn't deserve my silence, and I didn't need her permission. The point wasn't to humiliate her. The point was to make sure the next person didn't ignore the signs. It wasn't revenge. It was education, dressed as vengeance. And it worked. Because somewhere out there, another spouse just typed in a familiar password, and their screen lit up. Subscribe to the channel